Today's game features Morhpy, Paul playing as white against allies as black. White plays e4, seizes the center, frees the bishop and queen. Black plays e5, equally good for the same reasons. White plays nf3. The knight develops, with tempo, attacking e5, because the king's pawns are undefended on e4 and e5. Attacks and counterattacks are possible, and the game is sharper than after. 1. Black plays d6. Black defends e5, but this move blocks the bishop on f8. This opening, the Philidor defense, is not bad, but it is considered inferior to 2. White plays d4. Morhpy plays the most active move, freeing the bishop on c1 and attacking the pawn on e5. Black plays bg4. Black uses a tactic, a pin, on the knight on f3 which cannot move without losing the queen on d1, to defend the pawn on e5. But the tactic is flawed. It was better to play. White plays dxe5. Morhpy has an idea to win a pawn. Black plays bxf3. This is the only way to avoid losing a pawn on e5. But it helps Morhpy develop the queen and create threats against f7. White plays qxf3, recapturing and activating the queen. Black plays dxe5, regaining the pawn. White plays bc4. Morhpy develops the bishop and threatens checkmate with 7. Qxf7 hash. Black plays nf6. Black develops the knight and stops the checkmate on f7. Can you now find a move that creates 2 threats for white? White plays qb3. Morhpy attacks f7 and b7. The arrangement with the bishop on c4 being supported by the queen on f3 is called a battery, a lineup of 2 linear pieces. Black plays k7. Black can't defend both threats, so black defends the more dangerous one, the attack on f7. Black also has an idea to trade queens if Morhpy captures on b7, but the queen is now blocking the bishop. On. White plays nc3. Morhpy develops a queen and stops qb4 plus trading queens. Black plays c6. Black finds the best move. This move allows the queen to defend the pawn on b7. And the pawn defends the squares b5 and d5 so that white's knight can't advance to these squares. White plays bg5. Morhpy develops his last minor piece. Minor pieces are bishops and knights. Makes a pin on the f8 knight which can't move without allowing white to capture the queen on e7. And gets to ready to castle. Black plays b5. It's hard to suggest a good move for black. This proves to be a mistake because Morhpy's sacrifice on the next move is very strong. But it's hard to develop any black pieces. White plays nxb5. Morhpy has 3 minor pieces developed as well as his queen. And he's ready to castle and get his rooks into the game. Black plays cxb5. Black should capture the knight as otherwise he has lost a pawn for nothing. Now he at least has an extra knight for his suffering. White plays bxb5 plus. Morhpy captures back and points the powerful bishop on b5 right at the queen. Black plays nbd7. Black develops the knight and blocks the check. White plays 000. Morhpy castles and places his rook on d1. He immediately threatens to win material by capturing on d7 with the rook or the bishop, as the knight on f6 is still pinned and is not a helpful defender. Black plays road 8. Black develops his a8 rook and defends the knight on d7. This was black's only way to defend d7. White plays rx d7. A brilliant move. Morhpy wants to include his last piece, the rook on h1, but he displays no patience. A good habit for a player who has sacrificed. Time is of the essence, and sacrifices to bring the Black plays rx d7. The knight on f6 is still pinned, so this was the only way to recapture that did not lose material. White plays road 1. Morphy's final piece develops with another tempo move, a threat to yet again capture on d7. Black plays k6. Black unpins the knight on f6 so that it can finally defend d7. White plays bx d7 plus. Morphy has sniffed out a checkmating idea. Black plays nx d7. The only recapture which doesn't allow white to capture the black queen. White plays qb8 plus. A brilliant finish. Checkmate wins the game. And chess players must not be afraid to sacrifice even their best piece, the queen, if checkmate can be forced. Black plays nx b8, the only legal move. White plays road 8 hash. Checkmate. This checkmate in which the bishop defends the rook like this is known as Morphy's mate, in memory of this brilliant opera game.